This'll do.
Harold's studio apartment in New Mexico was a whisper of eager anticipation. His grandmother called him from the kitchen, "Don't forget your sketchbook." He, with its hundreds of hand-drawn ideas for inventions, from miniature bubble ponchos to self-ringing umbrellas, folded it gently into his suitcase. He was flying to Prague, hoping love would appear as unexpectedly as the chugging steam engines he adored. In Prague's pale evening glow, he'd fumbled on a paddleboat first date with Teresa. Despite practicing active listening, the advice of his matchmaker Katerina, he found himself too quiet, misunderstood, yet hopeful. A glimmer of connection appeared later with Michaela during a tour of a retro wastewater treatment plant. Love can come unexpectedly, even in a sewer, given the right conditions, he mused. That connection shifted everything. Showing Michaela his invention sketchbook, the most private thing I have as an artist, felt like revealing his heart. Their brief kiss was like electricity, a spark after 6 years. Yet, he rushed to propose after 2 dates, the fear of time slipping by fueling his urgency. The call came soon after filming. Michaela had cancer. She canceled their off-camera meeting at the last moment, halting everything in a painful instant. Harold created a GoFundMe to help with her medical expenses, a gesture of love, fragile and human. 3 months later, Harold sat cross-legged on his grandmother's couch, Wi-Fi connection lagging but hope triangulated, this time, to Singapore. He toggled dating apps, shifting locations. Singapore, he thought, they see me as tall and cute. Plus, they love anime. Something about nerding out together felt like a sign. This time was different. He consulted a lawyer about prenuptial agreements, not because he'd met anyone yet, but because he believed his intellectual property deserved protection, just in case his inventions turned into a windfall. It felt practical, cautious, and somehow grown up. Landing in Singapore was a sensory overload. Neon-drenched streets, humid air, fragrant night markets. Dolly, his matchmaker, greeted him with warmth and frankness. "We need you to step it up, not just in your wardrobe." Harold's fashion sense had always been lively. Suspenders, floral shirts, suspenders, more suspenders. Dolly shook her head. Katerina, who had helped him in Prague, was right. The focus needed to move from his attire to the substance of who he was. A stylist took Harold in hand, discarded shirts and brought a pale gray blazer and crisp white button-up shirt. He barely recognized himself in the mirror, but Katerina's recorded reaction on her tablet, "Wow! You look amazing." Harold felt lighter, sharper, like maybe this new version of him could step up his game. His first date was with Mei Lin, an IT specialist who shared his love of sci-fi. They met at a minimalist cafe, where conversation fluttered, sometimes awkwardly, sometimes brilliantly. Harold waited for signs, cues, invitations to open. She laughed at his joke about bubble ponchos. She drew a delicate Starfleet insignia in her notebook. Harold's chest tightened with nerves, but he smiled. For the first time, he listened without overthinking. He asked about her work, her favorite yerba mate stand, her fantasy concert lineup. She responded with ease. After the date, while walking back to his hotel, he replayed it, hesitant but hopeful. On the second date with Rena, a dance instructor, Harold panicked midway. Their conversation hit a dead end. She asked about his inventions. He spilled all 250 sketchbook pages at once. Her eyes glazed. He reached for her hand, too fast. Rena pulled away gently. "Harold, you're interesting, but let's just be friends, okay?" Her voice was soft, kind, leaving him both relieved and deflated. He nodded, wishing he could rewind and pace himself. Back at his apartment, Dolly coached him, emotional calibration, pacing, boundaries, listening for the silences. Step up your game, not by changing who you are, but by tuning into the moment. She placed a hand on his shoulder. He nodded, determined. On a late evening outing, Harold ran into Mei Lin again at a night market stall selling rare vintage anime merch. They haggled playfully. He helped her pick the perfect figurine. Their laughter warmed the humid air. Mei Lin paused by an alley lit by paper lanterns and whispered, "Thank you for being yourself tonight." Harold's heart soared. He realized stepping up wasn't grand gestures. It was quiet authenticity. She nodded, eyes glowing. He handed her the figurine. She said yes to dinner again. In his nightly journal, Harold scribbled, "Today, I didn't step too far ahead. I listened. I felt. I breathed." He reflected on Prague's pain and Singapore's slow bloom. He understood timing more, that proposals rushed could scare love away, but patiently offered space. He thought of Michaela, and sadness coiled inside but softened by thoughtful distance. He revised his prenuptial stance, not as a shield against love, but as a thoughtful conversation to be had when love is mature enough. Stepping up his game was never about performance or pretense. It was courage, to be vulnerable, to pace love, to fold security into affection without fear. It would be slow. It would be messy. But it could be real.